So here's a guy who has done something. This guy has been more productive than the entire federal government. Here's a dude that made this. Hey Siri, I'm getting pulled over. This is an iPhone feature. Will record your police interaction and send the location. No, I don't use this on my.
I
Do you
don't
have an
know.
iPhone or?
I do, yeah. I don't even think I have it set up. I tried it recently and it didn't work. So yeah.
Yes. So what you need is you need to have this thing shortcuts. All right. So this is for
Yeah.
Apple users. It's called Shortcuts. And this was launched in 2018. It allows users to conduct tasks on their phones that would normally require multiple actions. And Twitter user Robert Peterson posted a link to a shortcut and an explanation of what it does. This is the police shortcut. And of course, first you have to have the Shortcuts app installed. Then once you get this Shortcuts app, you can download different shortcuts that I guess people make. And this guy made a police shortcut where you can say, Siri, I'm getting pulled over. And then here, so upon saying, hey, Siri, I'm getting pulled over, any music that may be playing is paused and the screen's brightness is dim while the phone's do not disturb capability is turned on. The phone then automatically sends a message to a contact the user sets up, letting that person know that the user is being stopped by police, along with providing the user's location. The front camera is then turned on, and the phone begins to record the video of what is happening.
And then it says after that once you stop, it sends your video directly to your contact you set up.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty solid. That's a pretty solid surface.
It also tells you what a great state of affairs we're in when we are now at this point where people are. I mean, that's why. I mean, we are really at the point we're at. I mean, you totally fear the police more than the thing they're supposed to stop you from fearing.
Right. Well, and when you look at this is an example, and we're just accepting this as the new normal. Citizens are policing the police, literally, and they have to.
They have to. I mean, because when you look at what's gone on, I mean, like the fact that that another man was killed the other night is crazy as usual, but it's even crazier to think in this climate that they would feel comfortable. Like, if you're a cop, aren't you at the point where you're like, look, I really enjoy being able to shoot people who are unarmed, but I should probably take a break because society. But they're so poisoned that they're still they still feel like they can shoot, and kill.
Well, and that's the thing. It's a systemic disease that has been correct. And the other thing that I think that, and I myself, I think I'm guilty of overlooking this at times. I think we all are. I mean, there has been a very high level concentration of like the worst of the worst infiltrating law enforcement. And it goes beyond just a bully with a gun. I mean, that's a big issue, obviously, but it gets even worse than that, because it's like, I mean, it was a long time ago that white supremacists and neo-Nazis started putting on suits and decided we're going to infiltrate regular institutions. And they have infiltrated law enforcement for a long, long time now. And it's an institution that's built upon a lot of systemic racism anyway. So it ain't that hard for them to get in. Anonymous showed us back in Ferguson that you got a lot of just straight up KKK members with badges and guns, and nothing happened. Yeah. Nothing was done. Nothing happened.
No, it's true. I mean, this has all been a long time coming, and many, again, you just never know the spark, but this one totally makes sense, and it really is. I mean, we know that we have a police force that has, and this, my friend said this the other day, and I thought it was right on. He was like, hey, what's that expression about what a few bad apples do again?
Yeah, they never read the second part. They're like, oh, it's just a few bad apples. It's like, that spoils the bunch.
Spoils the bunch. And it really is. And so it's, you do. I mean, we've talked about it on the show before that, a lot of the police, they have these Punisher tattoos, or there's this whole sort of Punisher thing, which has led to.
Did you see what the creator of the Punisher did?
No.
Oh, dude. So this is, interject this real quick, man. But so they took note of how people were using like the Punisher logo to like justify police brutality and stuff. And I don't know if it was like the main creator or just one of the writers. I'm not fluent in like the, you know, the lineage of the Punisher, but they made a Black Lives Matter logo, like an official, because they were just like, no, you're missing the point of what the Punisher's all about. No. So they made a Black Lives Matter Punisher.
Yeah, well, and they're you know, they're on stuff too. Like the cops, they're fucking jacked up for this event that's going on right now.
Yeah,
You know, I understand that I hear from a lot of people that the defund the police is not a good slogan, that it hurts, all this stuff. I'm at the point where until people start talking about how votes aren't counted, that everything else doesn't matter. So you should be able to say defund the police, and you should be able to embrace that. And you should be able to say, I'm sick of living in a world, this would be if the Democratic Party was an actual thing. I'm sick of living in a world where the Republican Party is able to completely remove nuance from things and then just hammer a one-line piece of bullshit that's not true, and that's enough to stop a movement. Like defund the police is, again, it's a loaded statement, and I understand that it shocks people, but it's supposed to.
But you know what should shock people? Because right after that, right after you say defund the police, there should be a graph that shows people this is where your money, and you're going to see this big long bar for the police, and then these tiny microscopic bars for everything else.
And show the growth of those bars over the past 10 years, you know? Exactly. So, you know, it sounds crazy, but again, you need to be allotted nuance, because it is not like people are like, well, what if there's a murder? It's like, yeah, no, look, this is you're talking about a play. If you fire somebody, like if you fire the person who gets your coffee because they keep pissing in the coffee pot, and you fire them, and then people are just like, well, how the hell are you ever going to have coffee again? It's like, I will figure that out. I'm just not going to drink piss coffee anymore. Like, I would rather be like, no piss coffee, I'll do better. And it won't be that hard. And I just don't, I think people really overestimate how well the policing system is put together, because they seem to think that it's impossible to build again.
How can we possibly have anything better than this systemic killing machine?
If we were trying to build a worse thing, I could understand the trepidation. People would be like, I don't know if you can build something worse. I think you probably want to, but we're trying to build a better thing. I just don't think it'll be that hard.
Right. I mean, dude, I've been tweeting about this, as we all have, and I actually decided I'm going to write out a thing and just post it. And it's like, well, here's what I would do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look, I have no business doing that. But whatever I come up with will not be worse than what we have now. It won't be worse.
No, it won't be, because you're not going to have things directed towards negative outcomes. So your plan will not have that in there. Therefore, better. It really is just, it's just crazy. I mean, it's crazy. And to hear the opposition again be so neutered immediately, to have the Black Caucus think that the right idea is to put Nancy Pelosi in some sort of scarf and Kaepernick in the state capitol for almost 9 minutes. It's the stunt of it all. It's ice cream all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like just these meaningless symbolic actions, and then these quote reform mechanisms that aren't going to actually do anything.
Committees meeting, and it's just all talk. It's very similar to what happens when there is like a mass shooting, and we don't hear from that person. Like even Derek Chauvin, the man who killed George Floyd, the cop. We're not going to get the satisfaction of finding out what happens to Derek Chauvin within any time frame that's going to mirror the anger we have now towards him. And that's how our politics works. It crawls so slowly by design so that you lose interest, and that something else is already more prevalent and relevant. And that's just by design. And that's what they're trying to do here. They just try to run the clock out, and it works so effectively, so often.
Yeah. Dude. It's like that is exactly what they're trying to do. And we're going through it in real time. And it's like, but the one to kind of interject some optimism in there though, the one, silver lining is that I think people are finally seeing where they actually have some power. And it's not by showing up in a voting booth and voting for these blank suits. I'm not saying don't vote or anything, do you, but we're seeing that our true power is getting out and protesting.
Yeah. Scaring
them. And then also locally, locally you can, and I'm not saying corruption doesn't happen at the local level. Of course it does, but especially here in Los Angeles, we've got it.
Like national politics in LA.
We've really got it in droves here, but there's still, I would say, comparatively speaking, a lot more accountability compared to at like the state and federal levels. And you can actually, if you really put pressure and you really show up and you really say, this is what we demand, they have to answer to you.
Yes. That's how you do it. We all have been watching other countries for decades that just are fed up and they just go, fuck it. They go to the streets and they change their government. Surely they're probably going to inherit another corrupted government that they'll have to overthrow right after. But I've always been like, how the hell does this not happen here? I mean, our breaking point is on some level that I just never expected. I did not think we had a breaking point. I thought it would come down to the economic collapse that's coming in the fall. I didn't think it would ever. It just is amazing to see people actually motivated and fucking pissed off enough to say fuck it. And part of why the timing is right is because, when you continue to take stuff away from people slowly but surely, you slowly take every little slice of the more that you remove, what you do at the end of the day is you just create a lot of people who have nothing left to lose. And that is when people are actually really, really powerful because they're not afraid, and people aren't afraid anymore like they were. And people now are actually, it's even actually worse than being not afraid. They're empowered because they're seeing that there are many concessions being made. I mean, when you look at that fucking jazz zone they have in Seattle, I mean, they have 6 blocks and a police station in Seattle. I mean, and they're not, again, they're not like, it's not like they're a militia. They're not like one of these right-wing organizations. They are teaching diffusion tactics. They are giving away food. They are selling books. That's like an actual, so, that is contagious. And the more that people see that you can be effective in this way, it's dangerous. And it feels like a lesson we just have to learn every 30, 40, 50, 60 something years.
Yeah.
Longer and longer. This last stretch has been pretty long, but it feels like it's hopefully this is Occupy, but with lessons learned in teeth. And it feels like it is, knock on wood,
Totally, man. And that's the other, and I think what it takes is like a generation that has really only seen the true, short end of the stick.
Yeah.
And that's Gen Z, where it's just like, to them, and I'm really inspired by Gen Z. I mean, I see these kids, and they're like teens and early 20s making TikTok videos about socialism. I wouldn't have seen that growing up when I was a kid, but it's like to them, they're just like, and all the media propaganda of socialism being a bad word, they're like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I know what capitalism is. It sucks. I'm not for it.
I am very fed up with, I mean, this has never been said. I'm very fed up with the media too, but in a way where it feels like it's such fucking bullshit for Brian Williams to ever explain the tides are changing in this country and what people are actually waking up to, when you're the fucking guy who's had the alarm clock the whole time and chose by design to hit snooze on our behalf. And then to sit here now and be like, wow, what a crazy moment we're witnessing. People are finally figuring it out. And it's like, yes, with literally no help by design from you, you prick.
This is Brian Williams. I was just in the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. I dodged 75 missiles. I was guided by their beauty, but I still had to dodge them. And I want to quote the great Bob Dylan, the times they are changing.
Without question. Brian Williams should grow his hair, grow a beard, and go live in Chaz.
Totally. He'd fit right in.
Live from Chaz. Brian, you were supposed to be here an hour and a half ago. Time has no meaning anymore. Here we are. I do it when I feel like it. Yeah.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news